I'd always thought my life with Clara was something solid, like a house built on stone. 20 years together, 2 kids, a mortgage paid off, and a routine that felt comfortable, if not thrilling. She was the kind of woman who turned heads. Sharp cheekbones, dark hair that fell in waves, and a laugh that could pull anyone into her orbit. I'm James, an architect by trade, steady and practical, maybe too predictable. Clara ran a boutique downtown, all vintage dresses and artisanal candles, the kind of place that smelled like lavender and ambition. We were a team, or so I believed. Started with a hunch, nothing concrete, just a flicker in my gut. She'd been distant lately, her phone buzzing more than usual, her excuses piling up like leaves in autumn. Late night at the shop, she'd say, or meeting a new supplier. I didn't push. Trust was our foundation, right? But then came the night I found the receipt. I was sorting laundry, boring, domestic stuff, when a crumpled slip fell from her coat pocket. Dinner for 2 at La Rosetta, a swanky place we'd never been together. Dated last Thursday, when she'd said she was restocking inventory. The bill was $187, paid in cash. No business expense logged. I sat there, staring at it, my mind spinning. Who was she with? Why lie? I could have asked her then, but something stopped me. Pride, maybe, or fear of what she'd say. Instead, I tucked the receipt back and waited. The next day, she hummed around the kitchen, oblivious, while I watched her like a hawk. Her phone lit up on the counter. Our calling, and she snatched it, muttering, "Work," before slipping outside. I heard her voice through the window, low and playful. Not the tone you use with a supplier. That's when I knew. This wasn't a hunch anymore. This was real. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed proof. Something I could hold up and say, "Explain this." So I started digging. Her laptop was password protected, but I knew her habits. She'd written the code on a sticky note years ago, Clara 1979, and never changed it. That night, while she slept, I crept downstairs and opened her email. Nothing obvious at first, just invoices and newsletters. Then I saw it. A thread buried in her trash folder, from someone named Remy. No last name, just R. The subject line was blank, but the messages weren't. Last night was unforgettable. One read, "Can't wait to taste that risotto again," said another. Risotto, La Rosetta's signature dish. My chest tightened. This wasn't a supplier. This was someone else. I scrolled further, each word a knife. They'd been meeting for months, hotels, dinners, even a weekend trip she'd passed off as a buying convention. Remy's emails were casual, cocky, like he owned her. "Tell Jim you're working late again," one said. Jim. Me. The fool at home folding laundry while she... God. I couldn't even think it. I shut the laptop, my hands shaking, and sat in the dark. Clara slept upstairs, peaceful as ever, while my world cracked open. Who was Remy? How long had I been blind? And what was I going to do about it? The next morning, I played my part. Coffee brewed, kids shuttled to school. A kiss on Clara's cheek as she left for the shop. She smiled, oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. I called in sick to work, something I never did, and sat at the kitchen table with her laptop again. Remy. I needed to know who he was. The emails gave me scraps. A Gmail address, a mention of the studio, a vague reference to Tuesday's shoot. A photographer, maybe? An artist? Someone tied to her boutique world? I Googled Remy plus photographer plus Chicago. We lived just outside the city. And after sifting through pages, I found him. Remy Durand, a freelance portrait guy with a slick website and a smug headshot. Thinning hair, leather jacket, a smirk that screamed arrogance. His bio bragged about capturing the soul and listed local galleries. One click led to his Instagram, private, but the profile pic showed him at La Rosetta, glass raised. Bingo! I cross-checked Clara's boutique Instagram. She'd posted a photo last month, some behind-the-scenes shot of a dress shoot. There, in the background, was Remy, adjusting a light. She'd tagged him at Remy Snaps. So that's how they met. My wife, my Clara, tangled up with this pretentious hack. I wanted to smash something, but I held it together. Rage wouldn't help. I needed more, something undeniable. I remembered her phone, always glued to her hip now. If I could get in, I'd see the texts, the calls, the real story. She used a PIN, our anniversary 0614. Predictable, like me. That afternoon, she texted she'd be late again. Perfect. I drove to her shop after closing, parked a block away, and watched. The lights were off, but her car was still there. Then I saw them, Clara and Remy, slipping out the back, laughing as they climbed into his Audi. My hands gripped the wheel so hard my knuckles whitened. They drove off and I followed, keeping my distance. They didn't go to a hotel or his place. No, they pulled into the parking lot of a community theater. An old brick building with a faded marquee. What the hell? I parked across the street and waited. Through a side window I saw lights flicker on, then shadows moving. Were they rehearsing? Alone? At 9 p.m.? I crept closer, peering through a cracked pane. Inside, a stage was lit dimly, props scattered, chairs, a table, a fake tree. Clara stood there in a flowing dress, Remy circling her with a camera, snapping shots. Then he set it down, stepped in, and pulled her close. They weren't rehearsing lines. Their hands were everywhere, her laugh echoing as he lifted her onto the table. My stomach churned. This wasn't just an affair. This was some twisted, theatrical game. Her boutique life spilling into something bizarre, something I couldn't unsee. I stumbled back to my car, bile rising. They didn't even lock the door. Anyone could have walked in. Maybe that was the thrill. I drove home in a daze, plotting. Confronting her now would end it too easy. She'd cry, apologize, and I'd be the sap who forgave her. No, she'd humiliated me, turned our life into a stage for her little drama. Remy, too, he thought he could waltz in and take what was mine. They'd pay. Not with shouting or lawyers. With something colder, sharper. I'd build it slow, piece by piece, like one of my blueprints. By the time they saw it coming, it'd be too late. Sleep didn't come that night. I lay in our bed, listening to Clara's soft breathing when she finally slipped in at 2 a.m., smelling faintly of wine and sandalwood. She mumbled something about inventory and curled up, unaware I'd seen her tangled with Remy on that stage. The image burned behind my eyes. Her head tilted back, his hands on her, the table creaking under their weight. It wasn't just betrayal, it was mockery, a performance staged in my blind spot. I stared at the ceiling, mapping out my next move. Revenge wasn't enough. It had to be ruin, precise, deliberate, and permanent. The kids were at school the next day, giving me time. I started with Remy. His website listed bookings, portraits, events, galleries. A little digging on X showed he'd posted about a private shoot last night, cryptic, smug, with a theater emoji. Idiot. He'd handed me a thread to pull. I called the community theater, posing as a city inspector. The manager, a gruff guy named Hal, grumbled about damn freelancers, sneaking in after hours. No permit, no nothing, he said. Caught M on the security cam last week, too. Security cam. Gold. I sweet-talked Hal into emailing me the footage, said I'd follow up on violations. By noon, I had it. Grainy video of Clara and Remy, unmistakable, time-stamped. Evidence, locked and loaded. Next, Clara's phone. She'd left it charging in the kitchen while showering. A rare slip. I punched in 0614 and it opened. Texts from R flooded the screen. Last night was wild. You're my muse? Jim's clueless, huh? My hands shook as I forwarded them to my email, then deleted the sent copies. Photos, 2 selfies of them in the theater, her in that dress, him grinning like a predator. Copied those too. She'd never know I'd been in. The shower shut off, and I slid the phone back, heart pounding. She came downstairs, towel-wrapped, humming. You okay, hon? She asked, seeing my face. Just tired. I lied. I needed more on Remy, his weak spots. His Instagram bio linked a gallery show downtown, opening tomorrow. Perfect. I go, scope him out, see how deep this ran. That night, Clara said she had a girls' night. Another lie. I nodded, kissed her goodbye, and tracked her car's GPS. I'd installed it months ago for safety. She didn't go to a bar. She went to Remy's loft, a converted warehouse in Wicker Park. I parked a block away, watching her slip inside. Lights flicked on upstairs, shadows moving behind curtains. My imagination filled in the blanks, and I gripped the steering wheel until my nails dug into my palms. They were in there, laughing at me. The gallery show was my chance. I dressed sharp, suit, tie, the works, and walked in the next evening like I belonged. Remy was there, schmoozing, a glass of Pinot in hand. Up close, he was shorter than I'd pictured, wiry, with a fake tan and a voice too loud for the room. His photos lined the walls. Moody portraits, artsy nudes, and there, in the corner, Clara. Not her face, but her silhouette, unmistakable in that dress from the theater. Titled Muse at Midnight. My blood boiled. He'd put her on display, our life a footnote in his ego trip. I smiled, shook his hand, said, "Great work." He grinned, clueless. "Thanks, man. Took a lot of late nights." I bet it did. I bought the photo, cash, no name. He didn't blink. As I left, I saw Clara's car pull up outside. She stepped out, radiant, heading for him. They embraced, and I slipped away, the framed print under my arm. It wasn't just proof now. It was a weapon. They thought they were untouchable, wrapped in their little play. But I was rewriting the script. Days bled into a haze of planning. I went through the motions. Work, dinners, kids' soccer games. While Clara spun her lies, each one a brick in the wall I'd soon topple. She'd come home late, glowing, claiming shop stress. And I'd nod, swallowing the venom. I had the theater footage, the texts, the photo, enough to bury her legally, emotionally. But that was too clean. Divorce courts and tears wouldn't cut it. This called for something jagged, something that'd leave scars they couldn't hide. Remy's gallery show had given me an idea. He thrived on attention, Clara on her curated life. I turned their stage into a trap. I started with Remy's world. His website had a client list, weddings, headshots, small businesses. I called a few, posing as a concerned colleague. Remy's been sloppy lately, I'd say. Missed deadlines, odd behavior. Most brushed it off, but one, a florist, bit. He flaked on my spring catalog, she snapped. Left me scrambling. I nudged her to post about it on X, tagging him. She did. By nightfall, a trickle of complaints followed, real or not, didn't matter. His rep was his currency, and I was debasing it, slow and steady. Clara was trickier. Her boutique was her kingdom. Customers adored her, suppliers fawned. But kingdoms fall. I knew her books. I'd helped with taxes years back. She skimmed sometimes, cash sales unreported, small stuff. I logged into her QuickBooks, same old password, and tweaked the numbers. Inflated expenses, missing deposits. Nothing glaring, just enough to raise flags. Then I emailed an anonymous tip to the IRS from a burner account, attaching a screenshot. They'd audit her eventually, months, maybe a year, but the seed was planted. She'd sweat when it hit. The theater was my ace. Hal, the manager, had grumbled about trespassers on that call. I sent him the footage back, edited to blur Clara's face. Just Remy, clear as day, sneaking in. Caught this guy again, I wrote. Might want to press charges. Hal replied fast. Son of a thanks. Filing a report tomorrow. Remy'd get a summons, maybe a fine. Petty blow, but it'd rattle him. I pictured his smug face paling, and it almost made me smile. Almost. Then came the crueler twist. Clara loved her boutique's annual spring gala. Fancy dresses, local press, her moment to shine. This year's was in 2 weeks. Remy was booked as the photographer, per her Instagram. Perfect. I'd been to enough galas to know the setup. Projector, slideshow, her welcoming speech. I called the venue, pretending to be her assistant, and updated the tech specs. She wants a special montage, I said. Personal photos, a surprise. The guy didn't question it. I emailed him a USB drive's worth. The theater footage, Remy's texts, that Muse at Midnight shot. labeled Clara's Highlights. It'd play on a loop mid-event while she smiled for the crowd. I tested it at home first on our TV. The grainy video flickered. Clara and Remy, tangled, laughing. Then cut to his cocky messages, her silhouette glowing on screen. It was raw, undeniable, a wrecking ball aimed at their lives. I burned it to the drive and mailed it, no return address. The gala was her Super Bowl. This would be her halftime disaster. I'd be there, front row, watching her unravel. Remy, too, he'd squirm when the room turned. Their little play would end in gasps and whispers, not applause. That night, Clara came home, chattering about the gala. "Remy's got some new lenses," she said, eyes bright. "It'll be stunning." I nodded, pouring her wine. "Can't wait." She didn't hear the edge in my voice. She didn't know I'd already won. The days before the gala ticked by like a countdown. Clara buzzed around, oblivious, fussing over dresses and guest lists. I played the dutiful husband, picked up her dry cleaning, nodded at her plans, while my mind churned with the weight of what was coming. The USB was in place. The venue confirmed they'd test the montage day of. Remy's ex-mentions were souring, more clients griping. A local blogger calling him unreliable. The IRS tip was a slow fuse, but the theater summons hit. Hal texted me a photo of the paperwork, Remy's name in bold. "Caught the bastard," he wrote. I grinned. The net was tightening. I dug deeper into Remy, craving more leverage. His loft lease was public record, $2, $800 a month, a stretch for a freelancer. A call to his landlord, faking a reference check, revealed he'd been late twice. Creative types, the guy sighed. Always a story. I filed that away. His car, that flashy Audi, was financed. I found the lien online. One missed payment and it'd be repossessed. I couldn't touch that yet, but I'd get there. Every crack in his life was a lever I'd pry open. Clara's boutique was next. I'd already rigged her books, but I wanted her nervous now. I printed flyers, cheap, anonymous, claiming Clara's Closet sold knockoffs. "Check the tags," they blared. I scattered them downtown, near her shop, late at night. By morning, her phone pinged with texts. Customers asking, "Is this true?" She laughed it off to me, but her jaw was tight. "Some jerk's prank," she said. I shrugged. People are petty. Inside, I gloated. Doubt was a slow poison. Let it seep. The gala loomed and I fine-tuned my role. I'd RSVP'd as her plus one, but I'd arrive late. Let her bask in her spotlight before it imploded. I rented a tux, sharp and black, a mourner's outfit for their ruin. The kids were at my sister's for the weekend. I told her, "Clara and I need a night out." She'd bought it. No one suspected. Clara, meanwhile, prattled about Remy's vision for the photos. "He's so talented," she gushed. I stared at her, this woman I'd loved, and felt nothing but ice. "Yeah," I said. "He's something." Friday night, gala day, arrived. Clara left early to set up, kissing me goodbye. "See you there, Han?" I waited an hour, then drove to the venue, a restored ballroom, all chandeliers and velvet. I parked, watching guests stream in. Boutique regulars, local influencers, Remy in a blazer, preening. I slipped inside at 8 p.m., blending with the crowd. Clara stood at the podium, radiant in an emerald gown, welcoming everyone. "This night means so much," she said, voice warm. Remy snapped photos, winking at her. My stomach twisted, but I stayed calm. The projector hummed behind her. Then it happened. The lights dimmed, her highlight reel queued up. First, boutique shots, dresses, candles, then a glitch. The screen flickered, and there they were. Clara and Remy, theater shadows, hands roving. Gasps rippled through the room. She froze, mid-sentence. Texts flashed next. Jim's clueless. Then Muse at midnight. Her silhouette stark. Remy dropped his camera. It clattered. Clara's face drained white, eyes darting to me. I met her gaze, unblinking, as the crowd murmured, "Phones out, recording." She stammered, "This isn't, turn it off." but the tech fumbled and it looped again. I stood, slow and deliberate, and walked out. Her voice cracked behind me, calling my name. I didn't stop. Phase 1 was done. Their world was ash. Phase 2, colder, sharper, was just beginning. I drove home from the gala with the windows down, letting the cold March air slap my face. Clara's voice, cracked, desperate, calling my name as I walked out, echoed in my skull. The ballroom chaos replayed too. Remy's camera hitting the floor, the crowd's gasps, phones flashing like vultures circling a carcass. I'd lit the match, and their perfect little play had burned to the ground. But it wasn't enough. That was just the opening act. I needed them broken, not just embarrassed, shattered in ways they couldn't rebuild. By the time I pulled into the driveway, my plan was taking shape, a blueprint of ruin drawn in sharp, unforgiving lines. Clara's car wasn't there. She hadn't followed me. Good. I poured a whiskey, neat, and sat in the dark living room, the gala's fallout simmering in my mind. My phone buzzed. Texts from her. A dozen. Piling up. James, please, let me explain. It's not what you think. I'm so sorry. Lies, all of them. I didn't reply. Let her stew. Let her wonder. Remy hadn't texted, but I knew he was scrambling. His precious reputation now a punchline on X. I checked. Hashtag Clara's Gala was trending locally, clips of the montage spreading like wildfire. Photographer's muse steals the show, one post sneered. Perfect. The public shaming was just the first cut. I started with Remy's lifeline, his work. His client list was still on his website, so I spent the night firing off emails from a burner account. Remy Duran's a fraud. I wrote to each one. Caught sneaking into venues, botching jobs. Check the gala footage. I attached a link to a clip I'd uploaded anonymously. Some wouldn't bite, but enough would. A wedding planner replied by 1 a.m. He's off my roster. Thanks for the heads up. I grinned into my glass. His bookings would dry up fast. Freelancers don't survive scandals like this. Next, his car. I called the lien holder, faking a concerned neighbor. He's skipping town, I lied. Might want to check that Audi. They'd sniff around soon enough. Clara stumbled in at 3 a.m., mascara streaked, clutching her purse like a lifeline. James, she whispered, seeing me in the dark. We need to talk. I didn't move, just stared at her, letting silence do the work. She babbled, excuses about stress and loneliness, claiming Remy meant nothing. I cut her off. I saw you, on that table, with him. Her mouth opened, then shut. She sank to the couch, sobbing. I stood, grabbed my keys, and left her there. No comfort, no forgiveness. She didn't deserve it. I crashed at a motel, plotting my next move. She'd feel the real sting soon. By morning, I had a new angle. Her boutique. The IRS audit was coming, but I could speed things up. I called a friend, Mark, a tax guy who owed me a favor. Hypothetical, I said. If someone's fudging books, how fast can the feds move? He laughed. With a tip and evidence? Weeks, maybe days. I sent him the doctored QuickBooks file. Anonymous, of course, and he promised to pass it along. Clara's kingdom would crumble under audits and fines, her pride choked in red tape. I pictured her scrambling, explaining to suppliers why checks bounced. Sweet. The motel room smelled like stale coffee and regret, but it was my war room now. Clara's texts kept coming. Please, apologies, nonsense about saving us. I muted her. She'd built this mess. Let her drown in it. I checked X again. Remy's name was mud. A gallery dropped him, tweeting, "We don't condone unprofessional conduct." His Audi was towed by noon. I saw it on a tow truck's live feed, thanks to a tip from the lien holder's site. One call and his wheels were gone. He'd feel that, the cocky bastard. Stranded, scrambling, his image in tatters. I turned to Clara's social circle. She thrived on admiration, friends, customers, that boutique glow. I'd sour it. I printed more flyers, bolder this time. Clara's closet. Fake goods, fake life. I hit her regulars' haunts, coffee shops, yoga studios. slipping them under wipers, taping them to poles. By afternoon, her shop's Yelp tanked, 2 stars. Reviews ranting about shady vibes and that gala mess. She called, voice shaking. James, someone's sabotaging me. Help me. I hung up. Help? She'd begged Remy for plenty. She could handle this alone. Remy's loft was next. I'd learned his landlord's name, Mr. Patel, a grump who hated late rent. I called, posing as a city health inspector. Got a complaint, mold in Unit 4B. I said, Remy's place. Might want to check. Patel grumbled, promised a walkthrough. I doubted there was mold, but an inspection would spook Remy, disrupt his creative space, maybe hike his rent. I imagined him pacing, Clara whining beside him, their little bubble popping. Good. Let them squirm. The kids were still at my sister's, safe from this storm. I called them, kept it light, homework, soccer, love you. They didn't need to know yet, but Clara's parents did. I drove to their house an hour out with the theater footage on a thumb drive. Her mom, Diane, opened the door, all smiles until she saw my face. What's wrong? She asked. I handed her the drive. Watch it, then asked Clara. Her dad, Tom, a retired cop, joined us. They played it, Clara and Remy, undeniable. Diane gasped. Tom's jaw tightened. She's my daughter, he said. But this, Christ. I left them to call her. Let her explain that to Daddy. Back at the motel, I mapped the endgame. Remy's career was toast, Clara's shop teetering. But I wanted them together, trapped, dependent, miserable. I'd push them into a corner where they had only each other, then watch it rot. I called Remy's top client, a bridal boutique, from a payphone. He's a creep, I said. Harassed my wife at a shoot. Lies, but they'd bite. They did. He was axed by evening. Clara's gala sponsors pulled out too, spooked by the clips. Their worlds were shrinking, fast. I leaned back, whiskey in hand, savoring it. A week post-gala, and the cracks were canyons. Clara's boutique was half empty. Customers gone. Suppliers reassessing. She left voicemails. Voice raw. James, I'm losing everything. Please, talk to me. I didn't. Her tears were theater now. Too late to move me. Remy's ex was silent. He'd locked his account, but the damage was done. A local paper ran a blurb. Photographer's scandal rocks boutique event. His loft inspection hit. 2. Patel found minor issues. Jacked the rent. I heard through a fake maintenance call. He was bleeding cash, Clara's lifeline fraying. My hands were clean, my tracks covered. I upped the ante. Clara's car, a leased BMW, her pride, was next. I called the dealership, faking her voice. I'd heard her enough to mimic it. Lost my job, I whined. Can't pay. They flagged it, repossession loomed. She'd find out soon, stranded like Remy. I pictured her rage, her panic, and it fueled me. Then Remy's gear, his cameras, his soul. I posted an ad on Craigslist, spoofing his email. Pro gear, cheap, moving sale. Fatigues swarmed him. He'd deny it, but the hassle would grind him down. Chaos was my weapon now. Her parents cut her off. Tom called me voice gruff. She's ashamed. We're done bailing her out. Clara's safety net was gone. I nudged her staff next. Tipped them anonymously about her cash schemes. 2 quit. Texting her fury I'd forwarded from a burner. Her shop was a ghost town by Wednesday. I drove by, saw her alone behind the counter, head in hands. Remy was there too, arguing. I rolled past, unseen. They were clinging now, perfect. I'd weld them together, then torch it. The IRS moved faster than I'd hoped. Mark texted. Tip worked. Audit's on. Clara'd get a letter soon, numbers she couldn't explain. She'd call Remy, sobbing, and he'd have nothing. No gigs, no car, no loft. I leaned into their desperation. I mailed her a package. No note, just the Muse at Midnight print, signed by Remy. Let her stare at it, let it twist the knife. She'd know I sent it. She'd know I wasn't done. That night, I checked into a new motel, closer to home. Clara showed up at the old one. I'd left a fake receipt there, bait she'd chased. she'd find nothing but a cold trail. I slept hard, dreaming of their ruin. Clara's boutique shuttered, Remy busking for change. Phase 2 was rolling. Phase 3 would crush them. I woke hungry, not for food, but for the end. 2 weeks after the gala, and their lives were husks. Clara's BMW was gone, repossessed. I confirmed via the dealership's site. She'd Ubered to the shop, a shell of her polished self, per a barista's ex-post. Clara from the boutique looks rough lately. Remy's gear ad had backfired. Someone stole a lens from his loft. He whined in a locked post I hacked via a phishing link. His landlord served an eviction notice. Rent unpaid. Issues piling up. They were unraveling. And I was the thread puller, invisible, relentless. I struck deeper. Clara's audit letter arrived. I intercepted it at home, where she'd stopped sleeping. Discrepancies noted. It read. I mailed it to her shop, no note, just the IRS seal glaring. She'd panic, call Remy, and he'd be useless. Broke, carless, a leech now. I fed their fusion. I spoofed a text from him to her. Need you, babe. Crash here. She'd go, her house was my domain now, locks changed. I'd filed for divorce, papers ready, but held them. Timing was everything. Remy's last client, a charity shoot, canceled after I leaked his gala clip to their board. He was done, a pariah. I called his parents, found their number via a deep web search, posing as a creditor. Your son's defaulting, I said. They hung up, but the seed was sown. Family gone, career ash, he'd lean on Clara. She'd take him in, her shop was bleeding, staff gone. Flyers still circulating. I printed more. Clara's closet. Closed for lies. Posted them at dawn. Her Yelp hit 1 star. I staged the next blow. Clara loved her vintage finds. Her treasures. I packed them. Dresses, jewelry. From our attic, drove to Remy's loft, and left them on his stoop. A note. From Jim. Keep her. He'd find it. She'd see, and they'd bind tighter, a miserable knot. I watched from across the street as he dragged the boxes in. Clara arriving minutes later, frantic. They argued, then hugged, pathetic, perfect. I trapped them in each other's wreckage. The kids asked about Mom. I said she was busy, kept it vague. They'd know soon, but not yet. Clara called, begging to see them. Not now, I said, cold. She cried. I hung up. Her tears were currency I wouldn't spend. At the motel, I sketched phase 3, total isolation. They had each other now. Let it fester, let it rot. I'd strip the rest, leave them bare, then walk away. March 19th, 2025, 3 weeks since the gala, and they were shadows. Clara's boutique shut. Landlord's notice on the door. Lease terminated. She'd moved into Remy's loft, per a neighbor's ex rant. New girls loud, fights all night. His eviction loomed, 5 days left. They were broke, fused, a parasite pair feeding off scraps. I'd done that. Pushed them together, stripped their escapes. The divorce papers sat signed, ready to file, but I held off. Let them think I'd softened. Let them hope, then choke on it. I hit Remy's last nerve. His cameras, his art, were pawned. I tracked the shop via his spoofed ad replies. I bought them cheap, anonymous, then mailed him a photo. His gear in my hands, captioned Muse's new owner. No return address. He'd know, she'd know I was everywhere, a ghost in their collapse. Clara's audit was active, IRS called her, per mark. She'd owe thousands, maybe jail if they dug deep. Her treasures sat in Remy's cramped loft, a taunting pile. Their fights escalated. Neighbors posted clips. Shouting, glass breaking. She's screaming about money, one said. He's yelling back. I'd welded them and the seams were splitting. I fueled it. Sent Clara a forged letter from Remy's ex, claiming he'd cheated before. He'll do it again, it warned. She'd doubt, he'd deny, and the rot would spread. I watched from afar, parked near the loft, as she stormed out, then back in. Trapped. The kids were fine. My sister extended their stay. I'd tell them soon. Clean and simple. Mom made choices. Clara's parents disowned her. Diane texted me, "She's lost." Remy's family cut ties. 2. His mom's voicemail screamed, "Pay your own debts." No nets left. I filed the papers that morning, served them at the loft. Clara signed, trembling, "Custody mine." Assets split, her share dust. She had Remy now, nothing else. I leaned back in the motel, whiskey gone, plan peaking. They were caged, penniless, despised, each other's only lifeline. I'd built their prison brick by brick and locked the door. Tomorrow I'd go home, start fresh. They'd stay there, rotting together, my revenge complete. March 20th, 2025. I woke in the motel, the taste of victory sharp on my tongue. Clara and Remy were entombed in that crumbling loft, their lives a tangle of debt and despair. The divorce papers were filed, served, and signed. The kids were mine, the house too. She'd kept nothing but her shame and that leech of a photographer. I'd stripped them bare. Careers, cars, dignity. All gone, replaced by a cage I'd forged from their own choices. Today, I'd tighten the bars, make sure they felt every inch of their ruin before I walked away for good. I started with the loft. Remy's eviction was ticking. 4 days left, per Patel's notice. I called him again, this time as a concerned tenant. "They're trashing for B," I said. "Holes in walls, screaming matches. Check it out." Patel cursed, promised a walkthrough that afternoon. He'd find chaos. Clara's treasure strewn, Remy's temper flaring, and likely kick them out early. No lease, no money. They'd be on the street soon. I pictured them hauling boxes, nowhere to go, and it warmed me like the whiskey I'd stopped needing. Clara's boutique was a corpse, but I wasn't done with it. The landlord had posted a for lease sign. I called, posing as a buyer. "Heard it closed over fraud," I said. "Any liens?" He grumbled about that mess and confirmed the IRS was sniffing around. I spread it, posted on X from a burner. "Clara's closet shut for tax evasion. Stay away." Locals piled on, her name dirt now. Her regulars, her pride, would never take her back. She'd built that kingdom. I'd raised it to ash. Remy's gear was in my trunk. His cameras, his soul. I drove to a pawn shop an hour out, sold them cheap, and mailed him the receipt. Paid $200. Enjoy. No signature, but he'd know. Clara would too. She'd see her muse reduced to a pittance, her lover's art in some stranger's hands. I imagined her staring at it, him raging, their fragile bond cracking wider. They'd turn on each other soon. I'd made sure of it. The forged X letter had landed. She'd texted him about it. I'd hacked her phone weeks back, and he denied it, furious. Doubt was a slow bleed. I went home that afternoon, the house mine again. Clara's things, clothes, books, were boxed in the garage, ready for the curb. I changed the locks again, just in case, and sat in the quiet, planning the final push. They were together, yes, but not for long. I'd give them one last shove, a twist to make their prison unbearable. Tomorrow I'd bring the kids back, start fresh. Today I'd finish the job. Patel's walkthrough hit hard. Remy and Clara were out by dusk, boxes dumped on the curb. A neighbor tweeted, "Evicted, drama couple gone. Thank God." I drove by, saw them loading a dented van, borrowed, maybe, or rented with their last dime. Clara's face was drawn, Remy's tense, both snapping at each other as bags tore and her vintage dresses spilled into the gutter. I didn't stop, just watched, a shadow in my car. They'd landed exactly where I wanted. Homeless, broke, tethered by necessity, not love. I pushed the IRS angle. Mark texted, "Audit's deep now, fines coming." I'd sent more tips from burners, pointing to her skimmed cash. She'd owe tens of thousands, maybe face jail if they pressed. I mailed her a copy of the audit notice, intercepted earlier, addressed to the loft, marked return to sender. She'd get it at some fleabag motel, wherever they'd crawled to, and feel the noose tighten. Remy couldn't help, his own mess was piling up. The charity shoot loss had sparked a lawsuit. I'd nudged their lawyer with witness emails. He'd be deposed soon, penniless. Their van broke down that night, towed, per a police scanner app. Stranded again. I pictured them on a bus. Clara clutching her purse, Remy glaring out a grimy window. I'd stripped their mobility, their pride, now their trust. I spoofed another text from his ex. Heard you're with her. Same old Remy. Clara's reply, hacked, was venom. Is it true? He'd fight to prove it wasn't. But the seed was deep. I sent her an old photo, Remy with a random model, cropped tight, via a fake number. She'd stew, he'd flail, and the rot would bloom. The kids came home that evening. I hugged them, cooked spaghetti, kept it normal. Mom's away for a while, I said. They nodded, smart kids, sensing more but not asking. Clara called, begging to talk to them. Not yet, I said, voice steel. She sobbed. I ended it. Her parents backed me. Tom emailed. She's cut off. Your family, James. Remy's folks were silent, his lifeline dead. They had no one but each other, a lifeline I'd soon sever. I slept in my bed, hours once, dreaming of their end. Tomorrow, I'd deliver the killing blow, a finale so cruel they'd never recover. My hands were clean, my conscience quiet. They'd chosen this, I just built the stage. March 22nd. Clara and Remy were at a motel off I-94, a roach trap with flickering neon. I tracked them via her phone's GPS, still active from my hack. The van was gone, their stuff likely pawned or dumped. They were down to nothing, perfect prey. I started with Remy's last thread, his name. I posted a blog, anonymous, titled Remy Durand, Fraud Exposed. It detailed his flops, gala, theft, lawsuits, linking clips and complaints. X ate it up, his hashtag spiked, all venom. Galleries blacklisted him by noon. He was a ghost now, unhireable. Clara's turn. Her audit finds hit, $47,000 per Mark's update. She'd called him, frantic, not knowing he was my mole. Bankrupt, she'd cried. I mailed her a bankruptcy form, pre-filled. No note, just her name and the motel address. She'd see it and know, no shop, no savings, no escape. I nudged her old suppliers too, emails claiming she'd badmouthed them. They cut ties, one texting her, lose my number. Her network was ash, her charm useless. Their fights were public now. Motel guests posted, couple in 12B screaming again. I sent a noise complaint, fake name, to the manager. They're disruptive, I wrote. He'd warn them, maybe boot them. I pictured Clara pleading, Remy cursing, their bond fraying. Then I twisted harder. Mailed Remy a fake eviction from her old shop, claiming she'd blamed him for the closure. Clara says you trashed it. It lied. He'd confront her, she'd deny, and the cracks would widen. The kids asked about her again. I sat them down, gentle but firm. Mom made mistakes. She's not coming back soon. They cried, I held them, but I didn't bend. Clara had lost them, her fault, not mine. She texted, begging, let me see them, James. I replied, no, you chose. She stopped texting. Good. I leaned back, mapping the end. One more push, and they'd snap. Together yet alone, a perfect hell. I drove past the motel at dusk, saw them through a cracked curtain. Arguing, gesturing wild. I smiled. Tomorrow I'd drop the hammer. They'd feel it, and I'd be free. March 23rd. I woke early, the final pieces clicking into place. Clara and Remy were teetering, their motel stay on borrowed time. The manager had warned them, 2 complaints now, per a clerk I'd bribed with $20. They'd be out by morning, no refund, no mercy. I drained them. Money, hope, trust. And today, I'd break them apart, leave them alone in their wreckage. My revenge wasn't just ruin. It was precision, a scalpel carving out their last shred of comfort. I started with Remy. His ex-angle was ripe. I spoofed a call to Clara, a woman's voice, a friend who owed me. He's lying, she hissed. Ask about Lisa. Clara's hacked texts exploded. Who's Lisa? Tell me. Remy's replies were frantic, denials piling up. I sent him a forged email next, her boutique landlord. Clara says you owe back rent. Lies, but he'd believe it, storm at her. Their motel room would ignite, trust torched. Clara got hers too. I mailed a package to the motel, Remy's Muse at Midnight print, shattered glass frame with a note. He kept this. You're nothing. She'd see it, doubt his loyalty, his Muse crap. I called the motel, faking Remy's voice. We're checking out early. The clerk flagged it, they'd be packed by nightfall, no choice. I pictured her lugging bags, him shouting, both blaming the other. I'd fused them, now I'd split them, jagged and raw. Their van was long gone, so I hit their last mobility, public transit. I posted fake, lost wallet ads near the motel, using their names, Clara H., Remy D., call to claim. Strangers would harass them, drain their phones, their nerves. By noon, X buzzed with it. Locals mocking. Scam couple strikes again. They'd hide, paranoid, no one to turn to. I drove by at 3 p.m., saw them outside, bags piled, her crying, him pacing. The manager pointed, shooing them. Checkmate. I went home, cooked for the kids, laughed at their stories. Clara was a ghost now, mine, not theirs. She called once, weak. James, I'm sorry. I hung up. Remy's name was dead, Clara's too. They'd limp away, separate or not, shadows of who they'd been. I'd won clean, cold, complete. March 24th, the end. Clara and Remy were gone from the motel, scattered like leaves in a storm. A clerk confirmed. They left last night, fighting, split directions. I'd done it. Pushed them together, then ripped them apart, each blow calculated, each wound deep. Clara's audit fines loomed, her name trash. Remy's career was a memory, his gear mine, then sold. They had nothing, no home, no trust, no future. I'd built their hell, watched it burn, and now I stood in the ashes, free. I drove to the loft one last time, saw their junk on the curb, her dresses muddy, his tripod bent. A homeless guy rifled through it. I let him. Their lives were scraps now, picked over by strangers. X was quiet. No more hashtag Clara's Gala, just faint echoes of their fall. I checked her phone one last hack. Text to Remy, you ruined me. His reply, you did this. They'd torn each other open, just as I'd planned. I deleted the app, cut the thread. The kids were home, adjusting. I told them more. Mom's gone for good. We're enough. They nodded, resilient. My strength, not hers. Her parents sent a card. Your family, James. She's not. Remy's folks were silent, his world collapsed. I sold the house that week. Too many ghosts. Bought a new one, smaller, ours. Clara's boxes went to charity, her traces erased. She'd called once more. I blocked her. No words left. I walked downtown, past her shuttered shop. The for lease sign faded. A barista nodded at me, knew my face, not the story. I ordered coffee, sat by the window, watched the world move on. They were out there. Clara begging, Remy scraping, alone or not, it didn't matter. I'd carved them hollow, left them to rot, and stepped away. My life was mine again, clean, sharp, new. That night, I slept deep, no dreams, no guilt. Revenge wasn't loud or messy. It was quiet, cold, a blueprint executed to the line. They'd betrayed me, staged their little play. I'd rewritten the ending, torn down the set, and walked off stage. The curtain was down. I was done.